And we're back. I'm loving keeping these consistent.
Are you?
I hope people listening are too.
No, they are. You definitely are, because you taught me this. Results don't lie.
Oh.
And the results are that you guys are listening. You have put us back in the top 12 for self-improvement, which is our genre. I hope that you feel self-improved after these podcasts, which is phenomenal.
What's the opposite to self-improvement?
No improvement?
Well, that's just nothing. That's just neutral. What happens when you regress? Is there a category for that?
I'm not sure.
But yeah, so thank you very much to everyone who is listening, and we can see the numbers and the downloads going up each and every week, and some of you are right onto it, which is awesome. As soon as they come out, which is great.
Yeah.
So just obviously we want to start this podcast off on something positive with a bit of gratitude, and just say thank you to everybody who is listening and who is enjoying. But today we are going to, just sort of circle back. If we can
Look
use
out.
that.
Put it in a bow.
Not really, but you might remember just back in December, Anna launched a new business, Self-Love School. The first round happened, the first class, the first intake. And that's just ended.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and what we want to do today is I thought it'd be nice to just talk to Anna, see how it went, what she loved, she's had any good feedback, all these sorts of things, and just really try and tie that in a bow, like how I weave that in.
Can I say, honestly, this is how it goes down in this household, and it might look contrived, like, oh yeah, like this is all planned. No.
I literally know
30 minutes ago, I was in my office working on the million things I actually have to do to like get intake number 2 ready. And he came in and was like, come on, you're up, let's go. That's how he does it. He's like, I've got everything set, come and sit down. And so here I am. He actually did go to say, he's like, I think I'm going to ask you. And I was like, just don't bother telling me. I love off the cuff.
Yeah. And with Self-Love School, my involvement with it actually on a day-to-day, I'm not in any of the groups. I don't know any of the people that are doing it. So I really literally know nothing. So this is a good way for me to learn and catch up with how it's all been going.
It's so true.
But it's I help with the back end stuff. So that's the important stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Well, I call him my marketing manager.
Basically.
Point in case you were like, let's sit down and do this. No, but I wanted to quickly talk about, so if you were listening, if you just are listening, if you're like not interested in Self-Love School, but you continue listening for the banter, stay tuned because I'm sure there'll be some. But what I wanted to dissect quickly before we begin is actually the unprecedented, I don't even know the word for it, but just demand, I suppose, but love that Intake 1 received. And there's no trickery or marketing. There's nothing. I actually had not even put it up on Facebook. Oops. When I launched Intake 1, but I had launched Intake 1. There was 100 spots because it wasn't the beta test, but it was class 1. And so I really just wanted to make sure that it was what I envisioned it to be, and without an overwhelming amount of people or women. And
just so you know, we're on camera
I
now.
know.
So you're shutting me. People are going to see you telling me to shut
I
up.
know.
So.
That's why I was like smiling as I did it.
You meant to do it and you realised. You were like...
I was like, don't interrupt me because I will lose my thought process. But it was an unprecedented. So I had capped it at 100 and there was no trickery with that. Like I said, it was just literally, I had never done anything like this before. And just so you all know, it's me, myself and I. So I don't have a big team. I have a husband who's not really interested, who every 10 weeks will get me on a podcast and ask how it's going. So it's me. And I wanted to make sure that like I said, it was as I envisioned it to be. And go back and listen to podcast 1 if you haven't. I can't remember what episode it was, but Morgsy sat me down and I got very emotional and we talked about the why behind it and everything. And that's where I started. And so I wanted to make sure if there were, like, if it was like overwhelming and like quadruple the workload and all these things, then I was completely available to these girls. Anyway, cue the last 8 weeks. You know this. I have given you this. I literally don't. You give me bits and pieces. I literally know nothing. So, no, but you do know this, like when I say it. There has not been one error, one tech issue, nothing. It has been the most dreamy, seamless, easy, beautiful, transformational, incredible 8 weeks of my life but also for most, if not all of the women in the group. So
Yeah.
that's been unbelievable to bear witness to and to be a part of, and just to sit in their gloriousness every day and soak up all their takeaways in the Facebook group and everything. So yeah, it's been amazing. So when we launched Soap, the point is I had capped it at 100 for intake 1.
And 100 is a good number to begin with, because you don't want to take on more than you can sort of hold the energy for, and have too many people.
When you don't know.
In the beginning, definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. When you don't know, like I thought these girls, the girls might be, I don't know, like I just was like, I just want to be so available and I just need to know what I can hold energy for. Anyway, like I said, it was the easiest, most beautiful, most unbelievable 8 weeks literally of my life. In fact, you've watched me probably come more alive and have more ease and be more relaxed than ever. My mum actually commented on this. Thanks, Mum. Even at Christmas, she was like, sweetheart, I was so worried that you launching this in December would just see you really wide at Christmas. But it was just because the back end support is so seamless and comprehensive and there. I think it's just what yielded such phenomenal results. Anyway, so intake number 2. So my point is lots and lots and lots and lots of women did miss out. And I wasn't even aware of that. Like I was getting messages for weeks after saying, I have to say, I really am so disappointed. I was gardening on the Sunday because it sold out within 9 hours.
Yeah. Was like 8 hours.
8 hours. There you go. Marketing
hours,
manager.
That's why I look at all the stuff in the back end and you're the pretty face at the front end.
I'm just like the enthusiastic one. But it sold out in 8 hours. So the idea was that I was launching it on the Monday, but if you were on the VIP waitlist, you had access 24 hours early. And if the 100 spots got taken, that was kind of like the first launch, then so be it. But never, this, in my wildest dreams, did I think that would happen. And then it did within 8 hours. And so it never opened. Self-Love School cart technically... never. It didn't open to the public. It was just to the wait list. Pre-sale. And I didn't even put it on Facebook. Yeah. I just texted the girls that were on the wait list. And so here we are with intake 2. So I'm glad you did pull me out now. I'm on the mic.
Yeah.
You won't be able to shut me up. But I'm really excited and I've already got another 250 women on the wait list again.
Yeah.
There won't be a cap. I'm not capping it. And we'll see. Look, I've capped it once. Now I'm not going to cap it, but I may, it may be 200 women begin, who knows? And if I then feel like people are getting lost, then I will go back to capping it. So this is kind of going to be the next trial.
Yeah, definitely as well. But I figured, it would be just a good, talking a lot about intake 1 that we are at the moment. Do you really think looking back, like, do you have a proudest moment, either for yourself or for what you've seen someone else achieve in those 8 weeks?
Yeah. That's such
just
a good question.
The first one that comes to mind.
Okay,
You have to name names.
Yeah, I won't name names. There's 2.
It's about individuals.
There's 2. So I want to do an inclusive proud.
Yeah.
Like mine, and then
Personal
an exclusive. Yeah. So I'll start with exclusive. So there was a few women that I intimately know, like friends that committed, which I was so honored by the way. No one got a discount. No one got like you can just come in, mates rates. That's because I honor my time and I honor the 10 years of work that I've done on myself.
And can we just say as well, the important thing with things like this is they can, if they're not time caps like yours was, and if there isn't a ticket price involved, it just becomes something that they signed up for.
100%.
And they don't get any value from it.
No skin in the game.
And there's nothing really in it for you because they're not getting anything out of it, really. So, go on.
Yeah. So there was there's so many I can name. I know these ladies won't mind me they'll be like, this is me, I think. But yeah, there's a few ladies that had done it that are very close in my life, and I have always given them feedback when asked, and they do ask me often, like, where can I do better, or what do you think is a challenge for me? And it's always been there for me, and I can say this, but they've never changed, and they want to, and then I've never seen that growth or that change in the exact area that they're desperately seeking.
Sure.
And I have seen these women completely change their lives. changed their lives over the last 8 weeks. And the texts I've received, and I mean from not just these ladies, from so many of the ladies, the emails that I've received, the tags, the DMs from women. I mean, I was telling you about one the other day in the car about the money breakthrough that amazing woman had, and I was reading it to you what she had. I'm not going to say because it's a personal story.
This story is amazing.
But yeah, even you were like, holy shit, babe, like that is insane. And I was like, yeah, like and I had goosebumps all over my body, and I was like, babe, these are the messages I've been getting like every other day.
Yeah.
So it was just, I suppose there isn't one specific, but it's honestly just been for the women that I've intimately known. So you can't fake that, right? That's what I always say. You can tell me how amazing it's been and what's changed in your life, but if I can physically see it because there's an intimacy there, that's been really, really big for me. Like it's the proudest thing in the world, and that kind of leads into my inclusive pride. And I have said this to you quite a bit, but again, it has been a 10-year journey. And it couldn't have been a moment sooner that I created and founded Self-Love School. And I knew creating it when I went into that 8-day intensive and just spewed it all out on paper created everything 15 hours a day, 8 days straight. I was crying. I was screaming. I'd be like, woo, babe, fuck. Like I was like yelling in my office, like, this is going to change lives. And then I'd run downstairs. I'm like, you don't understand. But that's all ego, right? Like still ultimately that's like, what do you always say? Praise is not.
Self-praise is not a recommendation.
That's what Morgs always tells you.
Yeah.
How good is that, by the way?
It's
self-praise is not a recommendation.
Yeah.
So, correct. So I was self-praising.
Check me out, I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah. Morgsy always says this to me.
Great, yeah.
And I love it. And you're right. And so for me, it was then it was moving out of the self-praise and getting those messages from all the women. And I mean, I'm going to share some testimonials. Like I will ask them for public ones that they're willing to share publicly, because a lot were very, very private.
Yeah,
and I also think this is a thing, like I see some people take screenshots from Facebook groups, and I always think, I hope that they sought permission to do that, because a lot of coaches want to, they do, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
Spruik there.
But if the person, just on that, if the person's not happy for you to share them and you go and take them, that's a little bit exploitive.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I do see it a lot, and I'm sure that
it's not just a little bit, it is.
But also, like, I sometimes think as well, like, if you are in that sort of coaching position of authority, if I ask someone, I also think they might just say yes, even though they didn't want it to be public. Anyway, so I haven't shared any of that. And I could have shared multiple of those a day.
Yeah.
But I haven't, and I'm going to. So you'll get lots of the testimonials. If you're interested and you want to read them, I'll share them, and I'm going to put them in a highlight folder or something. But it was just the pride of believing in the work I have done on myself and then creating and founding this school, seeing that come to life and hearing from the women whose lives it was changing and why. And I'm talking, it wasn't just like, oh, this is like life changing or this is transformation. It was like, Anna, here has been my issue for 20 years. Here is the amount I've spent on psychologists. Yeah. And in 2 weeks, here is the breakthrough I've had. Here's why. Here's the change my husband's seen in me. Here's the difference with my kids. It was... They were the private testimonials that I've been getting.
But just obviously this is not a replacement for psychological therapy.
I actually say that in the course, just so we're clear.
We have disclaimers.
Yeah.
No, so obviously there's 8 modules, right? So let me just see if I can name all these, all right?
Oh,
so
shit.
You've got eat, think, move, earn, speak, self-care.
Yes.
And then there's an integrate module.
Yeah, and then a setup week.
Yeah, then a setup week, right?
Yeah.
So of those modules, first there's 2 parts. Was there a one that stood out for the people that did it amongst all the others? Mm-hmm. And do you have a favorite one? So crowd favorite, your favorite.
That's so hard. I thought you were going to ask me like the specifics.
Start with
so
I
I'm quickly logging in.
Start with the first one. Like, what was the crowd favorite? What was the one that people seemed to really love the most? I know that the feedback was positive on all of them, but Was there one that stood out? I mean, because I'm asking this question. I'm asking this question because I don't know myself.
It's such a good question. I actually haven't. So before they all begin, I get them. So in the Facebook group, and you don't have to have. By the way, I just want this said again because this is probably one of the most commonly questions.
There's a Facebook group, but people aren't on Facebook.
Yeah, you don't need Facebook to do it. It's actually the course has got nothing to do with Facebook. Yeah. Just so you know,
the group's just an add-on.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all run like it's a full separate website. You get your own personalized login, and there's community groups in there. Lots of women like. People comment on everyone, etc. So just know. But there is the sisterhood aspect of it on Facebook.
Sure.
So I get women, so you, if you're in Take Two, to introduce themselves in the Facebook group and say the area or the module they think that they are most looking forward to and why. And honestly, it was so split. Very split. So, and honestly, based off of, because I would always go back through and look, or like if I remembered one particular girl had shared something really potent and powerful, I'd sort of remember that. And then in that week, I'd message her and go, this is your week, girl, come on. So I don't think so. But if I had to take the most testimonies, to be honest, I would say it's equal between speak, like you love yourself, and earn.
Yeah, so earn was the one.
I remember one.
I remember at the time when everyone got to that, you were actually surprised because a lot of the people didn't think that they would get much from that module, but for a lot of them, it was their favorite one.
Yeah, 100%. That's the one.
That's awesome.
And
who doesn't like money?
My favorite one probably like earn, like you love yourself. But I suppose because that's kind of my like one and main focus now. Like everything else is just like. I breathe it.
Sure. And if you were to think about the program as a whole, like has the feedback been? Has there been like, obviously there's been positive feedback. Has there been any negative feedback?
Yeah. Yes, I can absolutely say. There's one.
Areas to improve on? Yeah,
no, it's not areas to improve on. Just the one, and this, I want to, great question.
Yeah.
I shouldn't share this, no. But I did get an email beautifully from one of the women who, and this is actually important and powerful to know. I thought this is really good feedback, and I'm going to email her back. I got it yesterday, and give her an exact program essentially to follow now, like within the program parameters to just keep going. But so I get you to rate yourself in week 1. So Soulful Setup week, I get you to rate yourself in week 1 where you're at in each core area. And then at week 8, I get you to go back and look at those numbers and then re-rate yourself. So, and she had shared how, and lots of women had, so this isn't specific. A lot of women were negative.
Yeah,
so you got to rate yourself out of 10.
I didn't even know that was an option.
Right. Well, it's not, but like, and I actually say that. I say from 0 to 10. And a lot of women will share like, fuck, I'm -4. I feel -4. And feelings are truth, right? It's their truth. So it was negative in most areas, which is not uncommon. And she was desperate in, she's sharing this in the email, and she was desperate and to then completely transform. And the working of the program is to help you identify, so create an entire new identity, which is the whole end game of life, right? You got to identify as a woman who loves yourself. So, she was like really hopeful, and she's like, I just thought at the end I'd literally have that new identity and be a completely new woman. But she said, and because the course is so big and epic, and it is week to week, and 98% of the women kept up, stayed on course, did the work, showed up, because it is time sensitive, and we can get to that as well.
Yeah.
And there's a big fucking reason for that. But she, being -4 in some areas, most areas, felt like it got so overwhelming for her that she then felt like she was falling behind. She hasn't. And she's like, everything was so transformational for her. So everything, every word in the booklet, every word on the video, she was like, I needed it all slower.
Yeah.
And so that was her feedback, which was amazing. And I'm like explaining this like long, because I'm like, this is really good feedback for everyone as well. In case this is where you're at, if you're like, oh shit, I'm -4 in all those areas.
Yeah.
Is this course for me? Yes, I still absolutely think it is. So just so you know, the parameters and the feedback I've given to her, but she's like, but everything you set out and everything I've done, I know it will and can transform my identity. I just needed to go slower.
Yeah.
And I was like, perfect. And this is going to be in the email back, but what I want you to do is take every single task, because each week there's say 3 to 5 tasks in the workbook that I then have you integrate into your daily life and so on and so forth. And it builds on the next, like week to week. And I want you to just take that one task. So say, and it is like Soulful Setup Week has 4 tasks, I think, right? To make sure you're ready, body, mind, soul, spirit for the 7 or 8 weeks ahead. I said, take one of those tasks and do it for a week.
Yeah. So just focus on one thing.
So module 1, that would have taken a week, right? When you're doing it with all the gals, now takes 4 for her. But in her own time, in her own way, external to the course, essentially.
Because you've still got the workbook and everything.
Exactly. But so as much as that's like some feedback, just so everyone knows, it was powerful to me. And this is what I talk about in Integrate Like You Love Yourself. When you film me, I was giving that rip raw love heart speech to the camera. I was saying how they have got absolutely everything. They've got the foundation and the workbooks and the tracks to run on now, all ways to circle back to and to ground back into self-love.
Sure.
So I said that, I'm like, it's, even though it's felt that way for you, you've now got the Bible of self-love that you can take and dissect and go at your own pace now. And I'll always recommend, like, do it, keep up with the gals, like do it in the intake.
As a squad.
But then why not just go again, right? So just really to anchor and center into those habits and identity. So that was some feedback.
All right,
some truthful,
awesome.
honest feedback.
But all the other feedback's been positive.
Phenomenal. And that to me, that wasn't negative. And she even said, she's like,
but
it wasn't you, it was me. And I was like, no, and
the thing is, you want the negative feedback, right? Because
100%.
that is where the areas are to improve. Because look, I know you're amazing, but I don't think you would have got this 100% to the best it will ever be all time first go, bang off the cuff. So that you want those people to say, hey, look, I've noticed this, or this is what I've, you know what I mean? So you can then obviously make it better for people in round 2.
Well, and that's the thing. I've taken some feedback from week 1. Week 1 was kind of the one like in that week, and it was where I realized how desperately needed and required self-love school was. I have to be honest. Seeing some of the women's and reading and commenting and coaching some additional coaching through in the Facebook group, getting stuck on things like I can't even write my commitment affirmation because they were at that level, like they were -4. So I took all that and I've added even more into workbook 1, for example. So I was like, everything I wrote in the Facebook page about everything, I've like taken that and added it. So yeah, definitely the feedback has been phenomenal. Even the, not woo, like the, oh, I'm really struggling. I'm like, okay, perfect. This is a clue. And I've added it in.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, excuse me. Speaking of round 2 though, what's happening with it? What's the deal?
Way?
Well, it's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah. It launches. Okay. So you mean like when does it launch?
Yeah. Well, what's happening with it? How do people get involved?
Okay.
How they can find out more?
Yep. Got it. Okay. So I'm going to do a webinar as well.
This is new.
This is new.
It's not new for you per se, but it's new for the self-love school.
Yeah, I didn't do it for round 1.
No. I mean,
no,
but webinars as an ethos,
I do them anyway.
You do them every week.
Yeah, I was like, I do them every week.
Yeah,
It's not new. Yeah,
right,
but for self-love school,
exactly, they're new. This is what I said. All right.
So, but irregardless, so it starts again in 5 days. So cart opens in 5 days.
Yep.
It's going to open on February the 15th,
sure,
the day after Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And I was like, did not plan this whatsoever, but I'm like, oh, give yourself the gift of love this Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
The day after.
Makes sense.
And then the cart will stay open for a week this time. So last time it just opened to the VIP early as well, and then it didn't open to the public. Now I'm just opening it for all on Monday. And then it will stay open until the Sunday night, and then you all, whoever is intake 2, kick off on Monday morning. So you get access to the login, you set all that up. As soon as you purchase it, you get it's all you will then get an email and say, hey, you set your login up.
Get a link to
there's a welcome
link to the Facebook group.
Click the link to the Facebook group. So you click that, you'll be able to add yourself. Welcome yourself. But yeah, all the course, as I said, is run in a login area on a separate website. So February 15th. What else? Oh, but I am going to do this webinar. So Obviously, we're talking about it a little bit on here, but I'm just going to do like a 30-minute webinar, me live, staring you in the face, having fun. You'll get my energy. And I've actually got slides that do take you through the modules, just like bit by bit, in the sense of like the key tasks. So you can go, oh my gosh, yeah, I really want to do this, or maybe I'm still not ready, I'll wait for round 3, or maybe it's not for you at all. So I'm going to do a webinar on Monday night.
Sure. And where are the details for that? They're going to be in your...
Because I don't know. Put them on Instagram. No, we can put the link to
I can put them in the show notes.
We'll put it in
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah,
you've got a link tree and all that stuff. You can whack them there.
But the power of the webinar is, and there's just no trickery, but just for women that do get on the webinar, because I always honor that commitment. And you know this, I do this in all my businesses. Women that show up like shine. Mm-hmm. So I am going to give a special bonus offer on the webinar live. Sure. So if you're registered for the webinar and you get on, you'll have a 48-hour window that you can get a little something extra.
Or less, maybe.
Or less, yeah.
No, that's awesome. And the other thing I like about webinars as well is people can be anonymous if they want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not that it's, I mean, just on a side note, I think the reason why people like to do things like self-love school with you, or they're happy to buy things from you, is because there's never any pressure and people never feel like they're obligated. It's like you've given them this time. You know, sometimes I know for me personally, sometimes you buy things out of obligation. Like, oh, this person's just done all this hard sell and they've done all this stuff and now I really feel obligated. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
People are watching, I'm sure you can probably relate to what I'm saying. On some level, you've kind of bought something where you think, I'll just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think with you, I know people don't feel like that. Yeah. They know who you are. They trust who you are. They know it's information, and they know that if they do, choose to get involved, they're going to get a lot of value from it.
100%.
So that's awesome. So obviously that's going to be, it'll be in the, I'll put it in the show notes. It's going to be in your link tree as well.
Obviously, if you listen to this back and intake's closed, get excited still. There's going to be 4 intakes, and this is the thing, ladies. Again, it's also, I can go here. This is a perfect little segue. There's no, like, self-love school to me is like soul's work. And I lean into everything. I marinate in everything. I meditate on everything. And I want women, I think the magic of it in a big way is that it is a sacred container for every intake. Like class 1, lots of them have caught up. Like I know that's like class 1 is class 1. Like of 2020 actually, 2020. So... And then you girls, whoever wants to be part of intake 2 and class 2, it is this sacred container that is created. And you just have me, you'll have the class 1 girls in the Facebook group if you've got Facebook, and you've got the course for you for that 10-week period. It's actually 10 weeks. It's an 8-week course, but you get access to the login and the videos for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And we can actually circle back to that.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. But it is really special and it is sacred, and you've got me energetically, physically, for that support. So that's why I'm doing 4 intakes a year. It's not, what do they call it when it's like green something, like
I don't know.
Evergreen. So evergreen in business is like, it's just super automated. You can sign up whenever, which is phenomenal. Like, it's a brilliant business model.
Yeah.
But I like this sacred container, and I think that's my gift, creating that sacred container of sisterhood and of transformation. And so there is only going to be 4 intakes a year. So for 2021, this is intake 2 of Self-Love School, but it's intake 1 of 2021. So if you don't get in this round, amazing, you've got 3 rounds left, but you've only got 3 rounds left.
Yeah.
And then, so it's not just like, oh, I'll wait until the next one. Well, the next one's not going to be for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So just remember that as well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. Well, look, we'll leave it there, I think, for this podcast. But again, thanks for listening. Again, keep an eye out for those links. If you want to just even learn some more and jump on and check out Anna's webinar, then you can find all that stuff in the show notes, link tree, in my bio.
Bro.
Won't be in my bio. Be in your bio.
Yeah.
But
you did good on Instagram today, though, honey. You shared some
sharing memes.
Hilarious memes. I see you.
But guys, thanks for listening. We'll be back again next Tuesday with another podcast. In the meantime, stay safe, have a great weekend, and we will speak to you soon.
We love you. Bye.